Hi everyone, it's me. Welcome to today's video. You guys have already seen the title of this video, but I have something to confess. I did break my book buying ban. So you guys know this already, but I have just been on, I would say like a soft book buying ban lately for the past, I don't know, 4 or 5 months you could say. I have still kept up with like book subscriptions, so Book of the Month is actually the only book subscription that I am subscribed to, so I have been keeping that going. And I've also been getting pre-orders for books that I have already previously pre-ordered, if that makes sense. Like when I entered my book buying ban, I wasn't like, I'm gonna cancel all my pre-orders for new releases coming up, but it was more just like I was not going to go book shopping and do big book hauls and all of that stuff. But something has forced me to break my book buying ban and I'm gonna show you what that thing was, okay? It was him. It was him. He made me break my book buying ban. And just to explain a little bit, basically I do follow my local Indigo on Instagram and they posted an Instagram story saying that they had just restocked their Jellycats and I saw him. I saw him in this Instagram story and I was like, I need him. And that was just it. So I ran over to Indigo, picked him up, and while I was there, I'm just a girl. What can I say? There were so many books around me, I had to pick some up. So I did. And this isn't like a giant book haul, and everything I did pick up are continuations to series that I'm in the middle of and I need to finish. So it was like a productive book shop for books that like I would need to get anyways. But at the end of the day, you can blame him. I do think he needs a name because he has quite an essence. He has quite a spirit. I have not named him yet, so if you have any suggestions for cute mushroomy names, I will gladly accept those in the comments. But anyways, he lives on my bookshelf now, but I had to get him and he is the reason for this video. And on to the books I purchased. So the first two I got are actually The Gilded Cage and The Blood Trader. These are the second and third books to the Prison Healer trilogy by Lynette Noni. I did read the first one a couple months ago and I really enjoyed it. It's just a very fun YA fantasy series. It feels very nostalgic. We have trials. We just have like kind of all those tropes that make us feel like we're living in the past, but in a good way. I thought The Prison Healer moved really fast. The world is very simple. It's easy to read, but the plot and the characters just like grip you. I definitely really liked the first one. It wasn't a perfect read for me, but I can see the potential of the series becoming so good. And I know a lot of you have said that these books are incredible. It just keeps better as the series goes on. And what can I say? I'm excited to continue in the series. The end of the first book also gave us quite a big twist and we were kind of left on this like, ooh, like what happens now moment. So definitely excited to get back into this world. And if you don't know what the Prison Healer trilogy is about, just for a quick little synopsis, we follow Kiva. She is the healer of a prison, therefore the name The Prison Healer. She's grown up and lived in the prison her entire life and she was captured just kind of because she was with the wrong people at the wrong time, or just, you know, the world is corrupt and she's not really in the prison for anything that she has done specifically. It's just, you know, a time of bad circumstance. But as she's grown up in this prison, she's kind of learned her place in the prison. She's learned how to get by. As the plot continues, she meets a new inmate who comes in. She also gets tasked to heal this rebel that comes in, because this rebel has now been sentenced to 3 trials to determine their fate, and the leaders of this world want this particular rebel to be conscious and able to do these trials. So this rebel is currently unconscious and Kiva has to figure out how to heal this prisoner so they can move forward with these trials. And then we just get a whole bunch of twists and lots of excitement happening. So that is the Prison Healer trilogy and I'm so excited to continue and finish this series. The next one I got is, honestly, I'm a little intimidated looking at it, but I'm also very excited. And that is Jade Legacy by Fonda Lee. This is the third book in the Greenbone saga. The first book is Jade City, the second book is Jade War, and this one, the final one, is Jade Legacy. So I just read the second one, Jade War, very recently, and I'm so excited to continue in the series because I love the characters. Somehow they all feel very real, very realistic. None of them are perfect. None of them are stereotypes of characters, which I find really refreshing. They're all very unique. They all take their own paths and nothing is predictable in this series. I have not been able to predict a single thing happening here in terms of like the main plot lines. But in the Greenbone Saga, we are in this world that is inspired by Hong Kong. So it is an urban fantasy, so it feels very big city life. We have a really cool jade-based magic system where people can wear jade and then kind of harness the powers, the magical powers that jade has. The magic fighting style also is it's more combat-based, it's more martial arts. It's not like you can harness the jade and spit out fire. It's like you harness the jade and you can steel yourself or you can slash things. Just like more physical combat kind of a style of a magic system, which is so cool. And we have two main clans that just constantly get into disputes over territory, over resources, over like all things financial, and also the allotment and the powers and distribution of jade as well. So this is a very highly complex political system here, lots of fantasy politics, which I love. And we have a multi-POV, so we follow a lot of different characters, and it's just so wonderful. The characters are so rich, are so different from other characters that I've read before, and the tension, the political tension in these books are wonderful. And yeah, as I said, I have not been able to predict a single thing that has happened in these books. It always catches me off guard, and that is rare. That is a rare occurrence for me. So excited to start this book. It is overwhelming, as I said, because it is quite thick. It's 700 pages long, which, you know I've read books longer than this, but for some reason, like just holding this, I'm like, ooh, but I'm definitely gonna pick this up in my next finishing series video. So definitely look out for that because I'm so excited to finish this one. And then the last item that I bought actually includes 4 books. So I did purchase the entire Ember Quartet box set. So I have the Ember in the Ashes, A Torch in the Night, A Reaper at the Gates, and A Sky Beyond the Storm by Sabaa Tahir. How cool is that? I love how all the spines line up to create this scene. I did read the first Ember in the Ashes book. The copy that I have though, I actually found at a Little Free Library, which is probably one of the best finds that I have ever found in a Little Free Library, but it is like the old school version of the cover. And since these are the new editions and they line up to make a scene, I was like, I might as well just get the full set so it all looks nice together. You know, I feel like it would look weird if I didn't have this one. And it was just like an incomplete scene. And I do try to not have duplicate copies of books for the most part because books are so expensive and like, why do I need 2 copies of them? But I feel like in this case, it was warranted. So if you don't know what An Ember in the Ashes is about, this is another YA fantasy. We follow 2 main POVs. One of them is Leia, who basically in the first book goes undercover as a slave to aid the rebels in this world. In this world, we do have a few different, you could say, factions, and the one faction that is currently in power just prioritizes themselves really, and they look down upon every other faction. So Leia is a part of one of those factions that are not in power, that are currently being oppressed. And so yeah, she tries to aid the rebellion by going undercover as a slave. And then our second POV is Elias. He is basically very high up in the faction that is in power, so Leia's enemy faction. And I don't want to tell you more than that. Their paths intertwine. They run into each other. Let's just keep it there. But I did really love An Ember in the Ashes a lot, and I've heard so many good things about the rest of the series. So I just went ahead and got the rest of the books so I can continue reading them. This is another one I'm so excited to continue. But that is my entire haul. Not a gigantic haul by any means, but thought I would share with you. And for the rest of this video, I thought it'd be fun to just go through my list of books that I would love to get my hands on next for whenever I fully release myself from my book buying ban, or you know, for the next time I make a slip up and buy books when I shouldn't. So let's just go through those books very quickly. The books that I want, that I desperately want to obtain. The first book on my want to buy list is Heavenly Bodies by Imani Iriu. This sounds so wonderful. I've had this recommended to me because when I was reading Zodiac Academy, I really liked the idea of a zodiac, or you know, a sky-based magic system, and I think Heavenly Bodies gives that. But I believe this style of fantasy or romantasy will agree with me more just from, I don't know, some of the feedback that I have seen about this book. This book is an enemies to lovers romantasy based on the stars, and I think there's a tie-in with Greek mythology as well. So that looks absolutely wonderful. The next book I have on here is Sounds Like Love by Ashley Poston. I don't think I need to introduce this book. I think all of us have heard of this, heard of Ashley Poston, and have heard of her new release this year, but this is another one of her magical realism romances, and this one has a musical flair, which sounds very fun, and I've also heard really, really good things about this one. I also want The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. I have heard so many things about this one. I think a lot of you have actually told me that I will love this book, and this one comes highly, highly recommended to me. So I honestly don't know much about this one. Ow, my feet. Oh, I've been kind of sitting on my feet and they kind of cramped up. So let's just sit on my bum and stop hurting my feet. Anyways, yeah, The Fifth Season, I have heard so many good things about this. I don't really know what this one is about, to be honest. I'm kind of going off vibes on this one, and a lot of the time, I honestly think you guys know my reading taste better than I do sometimes, because all the books that are constantly recommended to me over and over and over again by you guys specifically, I usually end up loving those books. So I just blindly trust you guys with book recs at this point. The next one is another viral romantasy that became super, super popular recently. That is Direbound by Sable Sorensen. This one I have heard is basically Fourth Wing, but instead of dragons, we have direwolves. So we have the same military academy setting, I think. But yeah, essentially the dragons are swapped out with direwolves, and I love direwolves. So this one sounds amazing. I have gotten a few warnings from you guys that this one is a little bit on the spicy side, so I may not enjoy that aspect of this book, but I'm still very, very interested in seeing how this direwolf bond magic military academy plays out. I'm really, really curious about this one. Next up, Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. This one is another that I have heard so much about, and a lot of you guys have also told me I desperately need to read this one, especially after I read Recursion by Blake Crouch recently and really ended up loving that book as a sci-fi. A lot of you have recommended this one to me, so definitely on my wish list. I also have Voice of the Ocean by Kelsey and Peacha K. I've talked about this one recently in a few videos, so I don't think I need to go into depth with this, but it is a book that I was really excited. I was anticipating the release of, but I have not gotten my hands on a copy yet. But essentially this one is a pirate mermaid romantasy, and that sounds like so much fun. I haven't really read a romantasy that is pirate mermaid, so definitely want that one. I also have One Golden Summer by Carly Fortune here. I've been really mixed on Carly Fortune books lately, but I do think her books give a wonderful summer vibe. Her plots to me leave something to be desired, but I've heard some really good things about this latest release by her, so I definitely want to give this new one a try. And I do have The Conditions of Will by Jessa Hastings on my wish list. I'm honestly a little bit conflicted personally with Jessa Hastings right now, and I'm still kind of navigating how I want to proceed with this author moving forward, but I do think she is a very talented writer. She convinced me with the Magnolia Parks series, and I've heard really good things about The Conditions of Will. I think I've heard it's also loosely connected to the Magnolia universe, like certain characters maybe get mentioned. That intrigues me as well. Ooh, Shield of Sparrows is also one that is on my radar by Devney Perry. I've never actually read a book by Devney Perry, but I know she's a very, very popular author, and I know a lot of people love her books. But Shield of Sparrows, another romantasy, kind of grew in popularity at the same time Silver Elite did. I remember I kept seeing videos being like, should you read Silver Elite or Shield of Sparrows? That was a big thing, and I think from what I've heard, Shield of Sparrows seems like it'll be more up my alley than Silver Elite was. I have a lot of hope for Shield of Sparrows, and I think from what I've heard it'll be really good. The Rose Bargain by Sasha Payton Smith is another one that I've heard a lot of. This is, I think it's YA, and from what I've heard it is more of a romance with a magical setting. I've heard it gives Bridgerton vibes. We have that Regency era style of a courting season with just like a little bit of a magical backdrop, is what I've heard about this one, and I've heard some good things as well. It's also gorgeous. I love all the flowery things on the cover. The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern is definitely one I have to pick up because I read The Night Circus a couple of months ago, absolutely loved it, and a lot of you guys have actually let me know that The Starless Sea is better than The Night Circus, so I am intrigued and I feel like I need to read this one. I really need The Dark Mirror by Samantha Shannon as well. This is the 5th book in the Bone Season series, which is a really fun sci-fi fantasy. I recently just finished the 3rd book in the series. I do own the 4th, but this 5th one I don't have yet. So I will need to get a copy of this after I finish the 4th book. I have Heat of the Everflame by Penn Cole. This is the 3rd book in the Kindred's Curse saga. I think it's called. The first book is Spark of the Everflame, then we have Glow, then this one's Heat, and I think the fourth one is out as well now, called Burn of the Everflame. This third book is, I think, like 1,000 pages long, which is a little wild, but I'm definitely curious to read this one. I did really like Spark of the Everflame. I was mixed on Glow of the Everflame. Overall, I liked the story, but the main character DM really bugged me. But the story was good enough that I do still want to continue in the series, but I'm a little intimidated that this next one is literally 1,000 pages long. Oh my gosh, Emily Wilde's Compendium of Lost Tales by Heather Fawcett. I definitely need this one. This is the third book in the Emily Wilde series, which is a lovely, cozy fantasy fae series. I've honestly been a little bit mixed on this series as a whole. I've read the first two books and I love the cozy vibe, but I feel like the first book in particular was a little bit boring for me, lacked a little bit of plot, but I did enjoy the second one more. And I've heard from people who have finished the series that the plot just gets even more plotty in the third one. Like as the series goes on, the plot takes more of a forefront. So I do have hope, and I definitely want to finish this series as well to see where it goes. Next up, The Darkness Outside Us by Elliot Schrafer. This is a queer sci-fi with a romance subplot, I believe, or like I don't know if it's, what do you call like a sci-fi, like a romantasy, but instead of fantasy, it's sci-fi. Romify? A sci-fantasy? Ooh. Maybe a sci-fantasy. This is a sci-fantasy, and I don't actually know a lot about this plot, but actually one of my personal friends, Simone, read this book and loved this and just raved about it, so I immediately added it to my wish list, and I'm really curious about this one. I do have Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson on my want to buy list as well. I've been slowly making my way through the Brandon Sanderson Cosmere. I recently read Yumi and the Night Painter, and I really loved that one. And I think the next Sanderson book I get into has to be The Way of Kings. It just has to. I have to just, you know, get over myself and get into that series. A little overwhelming, but I've heard some good things about Warbreaker. I think some of you have also said, based on my personal reading taste, Warbreaker is probably a book. I think it's is Warbreaker a duology or is it standalone? I can't remember, but a lot of you have said that this one would likely agree with me. Definitely curious about this one. I have the Book of Azrael by Amber Nicole on my list as well, although I'm a little bit torn on whether or not I want to read this one now, so I may remove this from my wish list. TBD. This is like more of a dark romantasy, and I'm not usually a dark romance lover, so I'm a little... We'll get back to that one. The next book I have on my list is Picking Daisies on Sundays by Liana Cincotti. This book just looks so cute. I first saw Sarah Caroli reading this one, and the vibe just feels so cute and wonderful in this one, and she really enjoyed this book. So I think for a cute romance that, you know, I love to read romances in between heavier books, I feel like this one would be a wonderful one, and I just love that it's pink and cute, to be honest. Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonham Young is one that I need to get into. I think especially because I really enjoyed Ready or Not by Cara Bastone. A lot of people are now saying that I need to get into this one and that I would probably really love this book. I'm definitely curious. I've never read a Hannah Bonham Young before, but I've heard some good things. I also think Hannah Bonham Young is quite local. She's a Canadian author, so that is just a bonus for me to support a Canadian author. I really am curious about Lovely War by Julie Berry. This one is a historical fiction with a bit of magic. I think there is something to do with gods that influence the world in this one, and I've heard so many good things. It's a book that I kind of want to go into more blind because the concept sounds so unique that I just want to hear it from the author herself. I've seen some really good reviews on this book. And just two more. Variation by Rebecca Yarros is one I've been curious about. I actually do quite enjoy her contemporary romances. They always make me cry. But this one I think caught my attention specifically because the main character, the main female lead, is a dancer. I think she does ballet. And for me, as someone who used to dance, that really intrigues me. I love reading about a dancer. I don't know what it is about it, but definitely curious about that one. Okay, wait, no, now there are two more. Sorry. The second last one is The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. This is a book that feels like a classic. I don't know how I haven't read this one yet. It's definitely more of a wintry book, but I've heard so many good things and I am convinced, 100% convinced that I will love this book. So that's definitely on my list. list. And then I have this Savage Song by V. Schwab. Love her book so much, but she definitely still has a big backlist that I have not gotten to yet. This Savage Song, I believe, is a duology, and it's one of her older YA fantasy books. And yeah, I just want to go through her backlist because she is absolutely wonderful. I love, love, love her writing so much. So that is basically everything on my wish list. I do have a few other books here that are basically, they're not books that I still need to read. They're actually books that I have read, but I just want the physical copies of them to have on my shelves because these are parts of series that, you know, I feel like my shelves feel incomplete without them, and I just have not purchased these yet because I've already read them, and I feel, you know, my internal war, my constant internal war of just being like, why would I spend money on a book that I've already read just to like display it on a shelf? But I keep these books on my wish list, and one of you said like maybe if I run into these books at a thrift store or something for cheap, I can grab them there, and that was definitely a good idea. But I've kept them on my wish list just to keep them on my radar so I remember that I need these. And that is Jade City by Fonda Lee. I read that on my Kindle, and as I've continued the series, I've only bought like the future books, but I haven't like went back and bought the first book. Two Twisted Crowns. I actually read an e-art copy of this one, so I don't have it in physical, but it is so gorgeous. I want it. Dance of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson. I have Vow of Thieves, but Dance of Thieves I read on Kindle only. And Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings, which I also read on my Kindle. And then just for vanity purposes, to be honest, I have the Poppy War Collector's Edition on my wish list. This is just so gorgeous. The Poppy War is one of my favorite series of all time, so this is just one of my like bucket list items to obtain. Definitely more of a collector's thing. And also the pretty version of the Hunger Games box set. I just think they're so gorgeous. Do they match the vibe of the series? Definitely not, but they're pretty books. What can I say? Anyways, that is my entire wish list of books that I want to buy next, and that was my little mini book haul. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave me a like and a comment. If you don't know what to comment down below, let me know what I should name Mr. Mushroom up there. If you like me, subscribe, do that bell thing, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!